I hope you all are great. Today we will have relative pronouns. So basically, we'll just finish up the lesson on the relative pronouns. Okay, so first you log in using the aplusstudent.com. Click on your name, move on to language at the grade 4. We did the first two lessons under relative pronouns. So today we'll finish the last one, which is use relative pronouns who, whom, whose, which, and that. Hi to you all on the chat. All right, so relative pronoun. What are relative pronouns? A relative pronoun introduces a dependent or relative clause that describes a noun or pronoun. So it introduces a dependent or relative clause that describes the noun or pronoun. Now we have five main relative pronouns, which are who, whom, whose, which, and that. These are the five main relative pronouns that we have. All right, so the relative pronoun who or whom give information about people. So these two, who, whom, it gives you information about people. Now, to figure out whether you're going to use who or whom, you have to restate the dependent clause with a personal pronoun. So if the clause uses a subject pronoun, he, she, or they, then you use who. So that's after you restate the sentence. And if the clause uses an object pronoun, him, her, or them, you use whom. So both ways you restate them, and you can figure out if I'm going to be using who or whom. So the woman who lives next door grows tomatoes in her garden. Now you can restate it and say she lives next door. So definitely who is correct. Peter, whom you met yesterday, has four younger brothers. So you met him yesterday. Okay. All right, so we have that. The relative pronoun that gives necessary information about things. So take note who and whom gives about people, and that gives about things. Necessary information narrows down what you're talking about and is not set off by comma. So you don't set off the that with a comma, it just narrows down the necessary information. So he walked to a park that has a tire swing. So that's so this information narrows down which park we walk to. It is necessary. Okay. So next up we have which. Now the relative pronoun which adds unnecessary information about things. Remember that that is telling us about things and it is necessary information. But which is about things but unnecessary informations. So the extra information does not narrow down and you are what you're talking about. It is always set off by commas. So which mainly have commas that set them off. Okay. So we walk to Glendale Park, which has a tire swing. Now we have the comma and we have the which. This information is extra, okay? It does not narrow down which park we walk to. It just says which has a tire swing. That's it for which. And then for whose. The relative pronoun shows possession. So whose shows possession. So Emily, whose hair is quite long, likes wearing braids. So whose, it's showing possession. Okay. So oftentimes people confuse the who's and who is. Okay, so they confuse these both words. So we have who's and who is. Who is a contraction of who is or who has. It does not show possession. So Emily, who is quite tall, can reach the top shelf. And then Emily, who is quite tall, because you cannot say Emily whose. Okay, this isn't showing who's here, doesn't make sense in the sentence. It's not showing possession. Okay, so people confuse who's and who is, but you should note that who is, it's different. It's just like a contraction. Okay, so let's look at some examples. We have complete the sentence with the best relative pronoun. The magician dash we saw in Las Vegas can make coin disappear. Okay, so we have what? Him, because we have whom. All right, so it's not who but whom. Okay, because you can restate the sentence and say we saw him in Las Vegas. Okay, please return my jean jacket, dash you know is my favorite. So that will be what? Which you know. Okay, remember that which is setting off unnecessary information about thing. Okay, then we have Oliver dash grades have steadily improved, credit his tutor with his success. So we have what? Whose, because whose shows possession. All right, let's go to the test. Share your answers with me. Complete the sentence with the best relative pronoun. I felt awful for Tucker. Dash wallet got stolen. Whose or whom, or who rather, which of them? Okay, so we have whose. Okay, so it's showing possession, right? The wheelbarrow dash is a Chinese invention, is a useful tool. That or which? So you guys say we have what? Which? Okay, let's see if that's correct. Okay, so which is a good answer? Thank you for your answers. Ready dash Mrs. Erickson often hires is a highly skilled carpenter. Whom or whose? All right, so we have whom here. The aquarium Dashbill bought for his cousin was difficult to wrap. Which or whom? Or who rather? Okay, so we have which. Watch out for dangerous snakes. Dash may be hidden by the tall grass. That or which. Okay, so what do we have here? Which. So this is actually that the information is necessary. Carrie is building a house Dash Brenda designed. That's all who. So we have that. Okay. Online dictionaries dash I use often help me check my spelling. Which or that? So we have that. So this is which, not that. Okay. So the speaker dash talk I recently attended was inspiring. Whose or whom? All right, we have who's here. So, okay. Ellie Dash, I had made plans with Elia just called to cancel. Who or whom? Okay, so we have what? Whom? Okay. So we have the customer dash ticket number is 179. Come to the checkout counter. Who or whose? Okay, whose? The chocolate fudge dash I ate yesterday was delicious. Who or that? So we have that over here. Okay. Patrick ate the stuffed peppers dash Brandon prepared. That or who? Okay, so that Brandon prepared. So the settlers dash claim homesteads in Texas had traveled there from Kettenker. So whose or whom or who? So, who claimed home states? Okay, who? Jackson's furniture store dash opened 20 years ago, just added a new location. Which or that? So, which? Nathan Dash is a great student, still gets nervous during exam. Who or whose? So, we have who. Sharon is the milk carrier. Dash works in my neighborhood. That or who? Okay, that works. Or who? Okay, so who rather? The new programmers that join our team are doing a great job. Who or whose? So who joined our team? Okay, that's it for our lesson under relative pronouns. Can you tell me if you have any questions? Alright, since we have no questions, we'll end here. Complete this lesson if you haven't done it. See you guys next time. Bye.